Tonight on The Al Denson Show, join Al and his guests, Charles Sharp, Grey Dot Records recording artist, Age of Faith. Stopping by to answer your email questions, Dr. Tim Clinton, and Jeff Calhoun and the Al Denson Show Band. Now, here's your host, Al Denson.
Woo! Yeah! All right. Man, yes. Hey, welcome to the Al Denson Show. You need to know we're smiling big in the studio. I came out just a minute ago. This is taped tonight. I came out a minute ago, and I came out, the whole crowd turned their chairs around. They were facing the other way, and they looked at me and said, "How does it feel when tragedy strikes?" I'm thinking, okay, great. We already got a smart aleck audience. Okay. Hey, listen, maybe you're in that kind of mood. You're sitting there. Look, this is a hard show to do. I mean, we're talking about when tragedy strikes. And, you know, all of us have had tragedy in our lives. And if you hadn't, I promise you, tragedy's coming. Now, I don't want to be a bearer of bad news, but we all, eventually in our lives, we face tragedy. In fact, right now on the screen, see what you're looking at? That's a plane crash. About 5 years ago, I was in an airplane going from Dallas to San Antonio, and boom, as you see right there, laying in the middle of the trees. We didn't make it. In that plane crash you're looking at right there, I lost one of my best friends. He's flying the airplane. He passed away. He didn't survive. Man, I broke my legs, broke my arms, punched my lung, had about 580 stitches on my face. I didn't like it. Didn't have a nose. Now you look at me, you see I got a nose now. That's nice because my wife picked it out of a book. That's why I got a nose, you know. But tragedy wears different faces, but it always has pain attached to it. It always catches us off guard. And sometimes we're not prepared for tragedy, but a lot of times we are. You know, I walk on high school campuses all over the place. I walk in junior high campuses. You can look in the face of kids, and you can tell right off the bat when you see them if they've had something tragic happen in their life. Take a look, listen to this. Death of a parent. Parents get divorced. Parents separate. Girls get pregnant. Guys go to jail. They lose somebody. The beginning of the next level of schools. That's like a tragedy to some people. Drugs, alcohol. Parents end up getting remarried. They have financial problems. They move around from school to school, from city to city. All these different things, man, they affect us. And you end up looking to the heart, and all of a sudden, you look at yourself and you're going, man, am I getting bitter? Am I starting to change? Why am I like this? We went to high school campuses and junior highs, and we asked these kids this question. What do you do when tragedy strikes? And here's what they had to say.
I cry. I'd go to my parents. I cry a lot.
I help as much as I can.
I scream. Like where anybody can't hear me, I scream. I go to my parents.
I talk to my friends and my parents a lot. Sometimes I go to my room and think about it, or I go to my parents.
You can get a school counselor too. Talk to my mom about all my problems pretty much. She understands.
I want to tell you something real quick. When a storm or a tragedy comes your way, right off the bat, I want to tell you something. First thing you don't need to do is you do not need to drift. I mean, you start losing direction in your life and you'll have that tragedy. You just start kind of swimming off in nowhere land. Second thing, don't discard things. You know what? There's a lot of important things in your life, and all of a sudden you just start saying, well, you know what? I don't want this, I don't want this. And you just isolate yourself away from everybody else. But then third, don't despair. In other words, don't give up. Listen, this is a hard subject. You guys need to stay tuned. If you're watching this show right now, you know why you're watching it? Because God wants you to hear what's coming up. So we're going to face this and much more. So please don't go away, and do me a favor. I want you to get a pen and a piece of paper, because I'm fixing to give you an address and an email address. I want you not only to write us, I want to give you a gift in your life that's going to help you, because we're all going to go through tragedy. So why don't we get prepared so we're prepared when tragedy strikes? So stay right there. Don't go away. We'll be right back right here on the Al Denson Show.
I think a lot of people are, they're only willing to turn to Christ as a last resort.
He's hope. God, in most people's eyes, only works in tragedy.
I think it's part of that God-given nature in every human being to reach out to their Creator, especially in time of need.
Welcome back to the Al Denson Show. I know if you just tuned in, I want to let you know up front, this is my favorite part of the show. I say that every show because it's always my favorite part, because this is where we get to interact with the stuff you've been sending us, you know. We get stuff all the time. I mean, thousands of letters and emails constantly, and this computer thing, man, it makes it real simple. You just go to your computer, type in aldenson@aol.com, fire us your comments. It's pretty awesome. We've got some email we want to talk to and some letters we want to answer. We got a couple of them, one from a kid and one from an adult. This is Dr. Tim Clinton. He's the president of the American Association of Christian Counselors. There's over a network of over 20,000 counselors. And Dr. T here, He's going to help us with these questions. Now, Dr. T, here's one from a young lady. It says, my dad just left my mom, and all I can do is cry. I want them back together. I want them back together so bad. Al, I just want to see my dad. Can you help me?
You know what I found out for kids who are going through a scenario like that is they usually operate without very much information. They don't know what's happening between mom and dad. Mom and dad are talking all the time. Whether they're yelling, shouting, doing something, they're always talking. Sure. The kids are left to their own sort of imagination about what's going on. And the biggest tragedy in this whole scenario is kids like this usually wind up pulling some of the blame in there somewhere on themselves. They blame themselves for what's going on. You know what I tell kids to do? And I mean, this is a strong word to parents to listen. Talk to your kids. Kids, ask your mom and dad all kinds of questions. Get every ounce of information you can get.
Communication.
You've got to have it. And listen, talk to both parents. I mean, mom and dad. Don't cut yourself up. Usually there's some anger that comes up and you get all hacked off at one or the other. Don't do that to yourself. Be big on love. Mom and dad, be big on love. Reach back into the lives of these kids because they're left to their own mind, Al.
Oh, I know.
And that's a killer.
I've got a question from an adult here. This one broke my heart, and I just had to put it on the show. It says this. This is a man. He says, my wife was just recently diagnosed with kidney cancer, and she's going to die. I don't know whether to tell my boys right now. They're ages 9 and 11. I need some help. What should I do?
Bottom line is, these kids are going to find out anyway. You know that? They're wonderful observers, terrible interpreters. And even though we want to protect them, you should protect them from junk. But I don't think you need to protect them from life. If anything, it could be a wonderful experience where you could crawl in and graciously give them information again. Because they're gathering facts anyway. They know something's wrong. Talk to them straight up. Tell them what's going on. Build on your relationship with each other. Get confident with God. And now, you know what? It's a wonderful time where you can come back and get some great support together as a family.
Yes,
and let me give you a verse to wrap this whole thing up. Both of these. Stuck in my mind, Psalm 34:18. God is near. He's nigh unto those who are of a broken heart.
You know, guys, it's hard sometimes reading the mail that you send us. Because you just, you realize how much tragedy is out there. And you know, we titled the book, When Tragedy Strikes, not If Tragedy Strikes, because it's guaranteed tragedy will strike. Hey, I want to encourage you guys, send us the questions. Send us what you're thinking. Send us your comments. The reason why is there's no question that we're not going to try to tackle. So if you're looking for somewhere to get an answer, please send it to us. We'll do our best to get on the air. It's aldenson@AOL.com, or you can write us. It's the Al Denson Show, Box 220, Grapevine, Texas, 76099. Now, don't go away, because I want to wrap this tragedy section up. Because when tragedy strikes, are you prepared? Stay with us. We'll be right back, right here on the Al Denson Show.
Hi, I'm Mark Self, Celebration Ministries. Each week, I'd like to share with you just one facet of what Celebration Ministries is doing to reach people for Christ. You know, it is so much more than just this TV show you're watching. We've traveled to hundreds of public schools throughout this year. You know, on any given day, you can hear Al's music on the radio. You can walk into Christian bookstores across the country and pick up his music on CD and the books he's authored. You can even interact with us on the internet. You know, God is doing tremendous things through Al and through Celebration Ministries. Just take a look at this one aspect.
Man, I've been doing this for about 15 years, and 5 years ago, I was in an airplane going from Dallas to San Antonio when my friend turned to me and said, we got about 45 seconds and we're going to crash. And we crashed in this little field outside of San Antonio, and man, it was rough times. And I didn't understand why, and I asked God that really tough question, why is this happening to me? You know, when I started looking back at that point, the 10 years of our ministry, I realized that, man, you know, I was doing a good job of singing Christian music, and man, my songs were doing a good job of encouraging Christians and recycling Christian people, yet, at the same time, my heart was for teenagers, and not only for teenagers, my heart was seeing teenagers give their life to Jesus Christ. All of a sudden, you started watching TV, and you saw Columbine, you saw Paducah, you saw Jonesboro, you saw all the tragedy, you saw all the violent acts from all these teenagers, and you started asking why. Well, we came up with a program called When Tragedy Strikes. When tragedy strikes in an area, people always call us. And when they call us, we come in with these books. And we give one of these books to every single student, the same book you see on the screen called When Tragedy Strikes. And we talk to them about how to deal with tragedy. And how all of a sudden it puts a roadblock in the road that you're walking down of life. But we do our best to help them take the better road and not the bitter road. You know, kids, they don't spell love L-O-V-E. They spell it T-I-M-E. They say, if you love me, you'll spend time with me. And those of you watching, I'm asking you, please, spend time on your knees praying for us as we go into these public schools and try to make a difference for Christ. Hey, at the end of our show, we're going to put up an address. And I want you to send me a letter letting us know that you're going to stand with us, that you're going to pray for us. Because prayer is the only way we're going to effectively change this generation for the gospel of Christ. And I need you to pray with us.
Welcome back to the Al Denson Show. All right. Well, you know what? The crowd is like extremely fired up about this next guest I'm fixing to introduce you to. But before I do that, I want to say something just real quick about tragedy. You know, tragedy comes when you least expect it. If we all knew it was coming, it'd be a little different. But when you least expect it, there it is. And one of the ways to survive a tragedy is surround yourself with friends. Friends who know you, friends who care about you, friends who will stand with you, friends who will pick you up, friends who will put their arms around you when you're hurting, friends who will just be quiet sometimes and just hold you and not say a thing because they just know you just need to grieve, you know. And everybody gets so excited because they're meeting this. I'm fixing to introduce you to my friend. And this is a friend where, you know what, if I was going through a tragedy, which, man, I've had tragedies. If I was going through a tragedy, this is one man absolutely I could pick up the phone and call, and I'm telling you something, as fast as he could get there, he'd be there. And he knows his own story about when tragedy strikes. Not only is he an incredible friend, he's 72 years old. He owns a huge insurance company in Kansas City. And, you know, he takes the proceeds and the profits from that thing, and he turns around, and God just showed him he needed to invest that back in the American teenager, because the most important thing he could do was take his resources and invest it in the future of our nation. And he believes that future is in our teenagers. But he has a lot to say on this subject we're talking about, when tragedy strikes. Please, with great honor, I represent to this man. Please do me a favor. Please welcome to the Al Denson Show, my friend, Mr. Charlie Sharp. Y'all good morning. Isn't it great? I tell you, I know for a fact the viewer's first response when that camera hit you was, he don't look 72. I'm telling you, but you know what? You're looking at this guy, he's got a great smile, he's got more energy. You can say, Grace, this man gets up at 5 o'clock every single morning, gets on his knees and spend the first 2 to 3 hours of his day with the Lord. And you want me to tell you why? Because this man's faced tragedy. Charlie, tell us just a little bit about, I know you've had a lot of tragedies. Tell us about probably one of the major tragedies that happened in your life.
Well, Al, because of several things, but the great tragedy that happened in my life was because God was trying to get my attention.
Did he do that?
He got that. He did that. The tragedy that I went through was a terrible one. At age 50, I'd been forced into bankruptcy. I was totally broke. I'd lost my family. They took everything I had, including my furniture. I had lost most of my friends. And it was a terrible time. And to the point that I asked God to let me die. But God didn't answer that prayer.
Praise God.
And I sat here tonight telling you that that was the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my 72 years.
That tragedy.
That tragedy, outside of my experience and the salvation of my soul with the Lord Jesus Christ. Of course, that's far beyond anything else. Tragedy does one of two things. It'll either totally destroy you as you turn from God, or it will draw you to the Lord.
Drive you to the Lord.
That's right. And I chose to go to Him, and I found out in that period of time that when God is all you got, God is all you need. And I was blessed by that, and it was just...
Well, people say to me, Charlie, they say that if God is so loving and so powerful, how come He doesn't stop tragedy? How come He doesn't stop these violent things and tragedies when they happen in your life? Why doesn't God stop them?
Well, God, of course, could stop anything. He's in control of everything. But most tragedies is brought on because God is trying to get us to see Him, to look at Him. Many tragedies people have nothing to do with. But 85% of my severe problems in life and my wounds were self-inflicted because of my disregard for God, my unconcernedness about His ideas. And God always has a plan. And in tragedy, He has a plan to get us to see who He is in the majority of cases. Many times at the time, we can't understand it. I've learned not to second-guess God. My job is just to serve Him. And I say, Lord, I'm going to get up and we're going to do the best we can today, and You're the power, You're the strength. I'm going to follow You. And whatever You got for me, I know You can see me through it. And He always has.
Charlie realized through that tragedy, we've got to start investing in our kids, didn't you?
Absolutely.
And he started to build this community called Heartland, where kids that are hurting, or kids where moms and dads say they can't do nothing with them, where the state says, look, we're going to lock them up, or somebody like you, Charlie, can take them. And Charlie built these homes and these recovery centers, and he's got these staff in there that help love these kids. And it's through a work ethic that these guys start to understand a whole lot more. But it all centers around they have to have a relationship with God. What's that phrase you use about Jesus, about medicine, or what is that phrase?
We'll say that most people that come to Heartland are sick, spiritually sick. They are hurting people, wounded people, tragedy after tragedy. They've been abandoned in some case by their families, or they're just been in trouble many ways. When they come, we tell them that it's a hospital type, a spiritual hospital. And if they will come there, we guarantee them recovery, full recovery, totally recovered people if they'll take the medicine. And Jesus is the medicine. There isn't another answer. That's the only answer for America. It's the only answer for any young person, the only answer for anybody. Only answer for 72-year-olds is Jesus Christ.
We're all hurting. We all need a refuge. We all need a safe place that we can run. And Charlie, I wanted to thank you in the midst of the tragedies that are going on in public schools and the tragedies that are going on in the breakdown of families, that there's a place that's different than any other where they can pick up the phone, they can call Heartland. They don't have to have money. They don't have to pull out an insurance card. They don't have to do any of those things.
That's right.
They can just talk to you, talk to your staff, send the child. If there's room in the program, they can put the kids in there. And it's unique because they teach discipline. When they get out there, they have to work. They go to Christian school. They have to go to church. It's unique how the discipline and the work ethic is taught in there. And that also provides with a change, all based on the fact that there is no other answer except Jesus Christ. And you know what? While we're talking about that, the bottom line is, you guys that are watching, there is no other answer than Jesus Christ. And we're going to come back in just a few moments, and I'm going to talk about it. And I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. I want you to get that pen and paper out, because I've got a book. This book looks like it says, When Tragedy Strikes, The Horror and the Hurt. I'm going to give you an address and an email address, because we want to send that to you, because you don't realize this. This world is hurting, and they're screaming out for answers, and tragedy is happening every single day. And we want to help you. So stay tuned to us. We'll be right back. Charlie, thank you so much for being on the Outlet Show, man. We totally appreciate it. Thank you.
A lot of people, they start praying when tragedy strikes, but then when there's nothing happening, they don't think about God.
When there's nothing in the world that you can look to, people just obviously look to Him.
People just want a Band-Aid. They don't want to live for God. They just want God in times of trouble.
They find comfort in knowing that there is something out there to help them along the way.
Cast your cares on the Lord, and He will sustain you. He will never let His children down. And He is able to to change your circumstance. He will turn into gold what is now a piece of stone. Are you worried about what you can't change, and do you lose some sleep? This fear has made your mind his home. Are the burdens more than you can clearly bear? He is waiting, your deliverer is waiting, oh yeah. You cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never let his children down. And he's able to change your circumstance. He will turn into gold what is now a piece of stone. You cast your cares on the Lord, yeah. And rest your mind, 'cause he's always in control. His very nature is peace, not a storm. And just remember that Jesus walked on water. You're at the Red Sea, but it soon will open wide, oh yeah. Cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never let his children down. And he's able to change your circumstance. He will turn into gold what is now a piece of stone. Cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never let his children down. No, no. And he's able to change your circumstance. He will turn into gold what is now a piece of stone. Cast your cares on the Lord. Oh yeah. All right now.
Yeah. We'll be right back here on the Al Denson Show. So don't go away. Hey, thank you.
I don't know. Maybe they don't think of God in that moment, you know?
I mean, you can get through everyday life and function and survive. God's only there whenever you really, really need him, and that's only if you are worthy of it.
One thing we've all agreed on, everybody's been on the show, is tragedy will strike. And I've seen it strike with some friends of mine, and they didn't want to deal with it. They weren't ready for it. They said, I can't go through this. I don't want this. And they kind of, somewhere in their heart or in their own little closet somewhere, they swept that tragedy away and they said, I'll just deal with this later. Well, let me tell you what happens there. See, just like you saw Charlie on the show, at 50 years old, he had a choice. And when tragedy struck in his life, that choice put him at a fork in the road. He could either go the bitter road or he could go the better road. And man, I want to encourage you guys, when tragedy strikes, you've got to take the better road. Let me give you 3 good reasons why to take the better road. 1, you take the better road, you become a better person. You'll also become a better Christian. 2, you'll also experience freedom. You know why? Because you're going to have to go through the process of forgiveness if you're going to take that better road. Because going down that better road, you have to experience forgiveness. And 3, it'll also make you a person that's a whole lot more sensitive to other people. You'll learn because of what you've gone through, just like you saw Charlie. What he went through, you know what? Now what does he do? He takes the same thing he lost, all that money, and he puts it back into kids. He's so sensitive into kids and families and trying to protect our future by investing in our kids today. Look, I want to say one quick thing to you. I want to talk to you about the tragedy of all tragedies. And that tragedy is dying without a relationship with Jesus Christ. You know, God loved you so much. He's not up there with some hammer, some hatchet sitting down there trying to mess your life up. Sure, God allows things to happen sometimes, but he does those kind of things because he loves us. Most of the things that happen, like Charlie said, they're self-inflicted. But the tragedy of all tragedies is dying without that relationship with Jesus Christ. And don't you realize he loves you? Man, he's got his arms open wide. He's saying, look, I know you're hurting. I know there's a tragedy. I know you're there. Don't run from me. Run to me. And guys, I want to encourage you guys. Jesus Christ, in your greatest time of need, is standing there saying, please give me a chance. And if you're sitting there, you know, I told you, God's got you watching the show because you wanted you to hear something. And it's probably that you need to finally get on your knees and ask Jesus Christ to come into your life and take control of every single part of you. When he does that, you'll be prepared when tragedy strikes. I want to show you this book. All you got to do is write us. I want to send you this book. It's a gift from us. It's called When Tragedy Strikes, the horror and the hurt. But this is going to help you because it gives you answers. It talks to you about the better road or the bitter road. So here's what you do. Just simply write me and ask for When Tragedy Strikes. Ask for the book by name at aldenson@aol.com. All one word, aldenson@aol.com. Or you can simply write us. Just put this address on the envelope, send it to us. It's Al Denson Show, Box 220, Grapevine, Texas, 76099. Hey, listen, you can't get through a tragedy without Jesus Christ. Give Jesus that chance. Would you do that? We sure appreciate you guys tuning in. God bless you. We'll see you next time on the Al Denson Show. Now keep it tuned in. Make sure you're right. God bless you.
We receive so many calls and letters from parents saying, help me, my kids are out of control. They have no respect for authority, they're hooked on drugs or on alcohol, they don't come home at night. What do we do? Well, I want to tell you about a safe place. This place is called Heartland. And Heartland is about restoring your child through a relationship with Jesus Christ. But they're uniquely different in the fact that they offer work programs to also instill discipline in your child and get a pride of respect for work in there. They have a dairy. They got a farm the kids work on. There's a Christian school the kids attend so they continue to get their education. There's recovery centers that the guys stay in. There's girls' homes that the ladies stay in. They hang out with other kids just like them. They're in Bible studies. They're focused programs. And it's all a part of restoring your teenager through a relationship with Jesus Christ. It's a safe place where you can send your child. If you need help, please email us. We'll send you all kind of information on Heartland. Hey, listen, our kids are worth saving. We've got to act now.
Ende